Welcome to the next video in this series where I show you the most efficient ways to perform any exercise so you can maximize your time in the gym. A common misconception with preacher curls is that they are a bicep tendon tear waiting to happen. But I don't believe these happen as often as people think, with the setup and progression being the most important factors. First, let's go over the setup. I used to be perplexed when adjusting the seat height. Is it better to have it higher, have the seat lower, or somewhere in the middle? Given the fact that we are all different shapes, sizes, and have different limb lengths, this will differ person to person. The seat height that works best for you is the one where your arms comfortably lay on the upper arm pad at a similar angle. What I mean by that is if you have the seat super far down, then put your arms up on the pad, you're probably going to have a gap between the elbows and the pad. This lengthens the lever arm where the load is applied going into elbow extension, meaning the more likely you will have a bicep tendon tear, especially as you get more fatigued. Contrast that with having the seat the highest it can go, and you're basically just doing a regular curl. You want to play around with the seat height to match best with your body. An easy way to do that is to film yourself and see if your arm angle lines up the most even with the pad. If it does, you're good to go. If it looks off, you may have to play around a little bit. Most pads are angled at 45 degrees, so your arms should be the same. Another important piece is how far your arms are on the pad. Similar to the lowest seat possible, if your arms are extended very far in front of your body, and the pad ends long before your elbows, this creates a lever arm that torques at the elbow joint into extension even more than normal. Think of it this way. If you were to try to hyperextend someone's elbow, would it be easier to do it by leveraging from the elbow or from the upper arm? Definitely the upper arm. Don't actually try this at home. Side note, if you had to do this because someone is robbing you, make sure to add a pop noise for added effect. Disclaimer, I'm not liable for any lawsuits you may have. Sorry, I can't get over that. That's too funny. Now that we have the positioning down, let's see what the form looks like to lift the most weight possible. The position of your head shouldn't matter too much, but I like to keep my eyes on my elbows to make sure everything is going smoothly. Sometimes I find one arm isn't lifting quite as fast as the other arm, especially as they get more fatigued, so I like to keep an eye on this. Keeping your torso mostly upright will help you lock in and maintain a solid base. Hand width should be about shoulder width, so your forearms curl in line with your upper arms. With any movement, you want the line of resistance to be in the same line as the muscle activating. Think of it this way. Which hand placement would be better leveraged, if your hands were way out here, or if your hands were shoulder width apart? With your hands wider, your biceps don't get the best leverage, and you wouldn't be able to curl nearly as much weight compared to your hands being shoulder width. On the other hand, if you have your hands extremely close together, you're more likely to get more accessory muscles, such as the pecs, involved, and this takes away tension off the biceps, meaning they don't get worked as much. I use an easy bar so I can grip around the curve. This is easier on my wrist and elbows than if I were to use a straight bar. Now I know everybody has different shoulder widths, especially if you've been blowing up those lats, and the curves on the easy bar are in the same position. So what do you do if these put you in a less optimal position? In my opinion, it really depends on a couple factors. 1. Do your wrists and elbows feel okay with the shoulder width grip, even if your hands aren't around the curve? If not, I would move your hands so they grip around the curve and ease pain and tension off your wrists and elbows, even if that means a less than optimal pull from the biceps. Performing any exercise pain-free for the long term is almost always the most ideal. And number 2, what muscles are you trying to optimally train the most? You see, when your palms are turned up into supination, you're targeting the biceps more. With your thumbs up, you're working more the brachioradialis, which is a muscle that runs along here. Your biceps are still working with a thumbs up position, but your brachioradialis is contributing more than it normally would, which means less tension and contribution on the biceps. With your wrists along the curve, you're getting out of supination and more into a thumbs up position, meaning more brachioradialis work and less biceps. There aren't any studies that I know of that compare the underhand curl to a hammer curl in regards to hypertrophy, so this could mean little in the grand scheme of things, especially considering the fact that we have studies showing preacher curls target the brachialis more than the biceps or brachioradialis. With all that being said, I think having the wrist a little bit outside or closer than shoulder width shouldn't make a huge difference if it means you'll be able to curl pain-free. In either case, make sure to keep your wrist in a neutral position so you don't put any unnecessary strain on your wrist or elbows. You want your feet a little in front so you can push away from the ground, as well as pushing your knees out against the uprights to keep your body nice and stable while you're doing the movement. This will set your foundation to be able to maximize the amount of weight you can curl. When curling, think about pushing the upper arms into the pad, almost like you're doing a lat pull down or a row, with your upper arms going towards your hips. This will also set up a good foundation and a counterforce to curl from. You want to curl up and in an arc instead of towards your body, as this will increase the lever arm from which you curl, putting more load and tension on the biceps. As you know from recent research, the loaded stretch is the most important part when building muscle. So there's no need to curl all the way up. The hardest part of the exercise is when your forearms are parallel to the ground, and curling from there gets easier. I usually curl until my forearms are halfway from parallel and the completed curl so I am consistent with the reps and progression. Make sure to lower under control in the same arc, keeping your upper arms in contact with the pad, ensuring your elbows in contact with the pad as well. If you're still concerned about a bicep tear, you can stop 1 to 2 reps shy of failure, since most weight room injuries happen during the last rep when your muscles are fatigued. Research also shows similar muscle growth when going to failure and when stopping 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. I use the preacher curl machine quite a bit, but with the tension being constant throughout the rep and not descending throughout the range of motion like with the regular easy bar curl, I found the old-fashioned easy bar curl to be the most effective. Since these work the biceps and brachialis in a shortened position, I like to do them as my first bicep exercise for that day, especially since you can lift most weight with these compared to most other variations of curls. With that in mind, I like to do these for 3 to 5 sets in the 6 to 12 rep range. If you don't feel comfortable using heavier weight for 6 reps, you can keep 8 reps as the heaviest and you'll see similar results. If you have any questions about the easy bar preacher curls, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer you. Click like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.